Hi guys, welcome to 8 of Cups Tarot and welcome to your cards for December, Aquarius. I'm laughing because I look absolutely ridiculous in this hat. But to make a long story short, I didn't plan on having Thanksgiving. I had planned to go see family, and as kind of COVID and everything started to become clear it was going to be a challenge, I decided it was super important for me to run out and get like the whole dinner and cook it myself. So I was running around in the grocery stores today, and it's raining and my hair is just gross and I'm a little behind on time, but I wanted to get you guys in here. I want to get as many signs as I can in before this eclipse this weekend. So I apologize for the hat, bear with me, and let's look at these cards. So guys, we have a pretty big eclipse, and I think Aquarius is one of the lucky signs because it may not affect you so much, and it may not really have a negative effect. Now, that's not to say the people around you aren't going to go through it. It's not to say that it's going to be the easiest time, but we're really in a time of change. Now, the thing with you is that life is going to start getting a little bit more serious. You're going to feel a little more responsibility on your shoulders. It's definitely a growth time, and it's absolutely 100% an accountability time in your life. You have Saturn coming into your sign. Now, you also did pull the astrology card of Saturn. Confirmation for you guys that these cards really do work in tandem with the astrology, and that it is all energy, and that we could easily tap into the positive sides of it and not really focus too much on all the negative things that can happen. Usually, if we're in that thought process and we're manifesting more of the negative, lower vibrational kind of things. So you definitely want to stay away from that. Couple things with Saturn. It's really not all that fearful for you because in ancient astrology, you are actually ruled by Saturn. And there's something really special about Saturn in Aquarius because I feel like the past several years we've had Saturn going through Capricorn, which kind of illuminated kind of this movement towards conservatism, kind of getting back to basics that we've been seeing play out. And there seems to just been this major growth of inequality. You know, there's a lot of polarity right now. And as Saturn goes into Aquarius, it becomes a little bit more gentle, a little bit more progressive, a little more accepting. And typically it's an energy of healing after the mastery. So Saturn in Capricorn with Pluto was such a trip, and through your 12th house was no joke. It was not an easy transit. No one really made it out unscathed. If you look at 2020, we've all really been through it. So Aquarius, Saturn is conjunct Jupiter mid-month at the same time that we are working with these eclipses. At that time, it will be the solar eclipse. It's a full eclipse in your 11th house of friendships. And I have to point out to you right away that Saturn can feel a little bit isolating. When we go through heavy Saturn transits, we begin to feel like our energy is precious. So if you're somebody who has 20 friends and you're always able to kind of manage and be there for everybody, this Saturn transit, especially because it starts off with this eclipse in your 11th house of friends and associations, means you might have to kind of tweak it down a little bit. There might be a shrinking of the circle, kind of. It's not so negative because usually what happens is the solid and healthy relationships in your life tend to grow. They grow in depth, they grow in prosperity. You start to build, you start to commit deeper, invest more in people. So if you're at a point in your life, and definitely if you're going through a Saturn return of any type, it might feel like a growing up phase where we can't always be with friends and we kind of have to be more responsible. But the good part about it is with the responsibility comes the rewards. It comes the healthy relationships. Now, you are coming out this month as the Knight of Pentacles. I'm sorry, the Knight of Pentacles, which tells me that you're already starting to feel it. You're already starting to feel Saturn and Jupiter, meaning there is an abundance of potential if you take yourself seriously, if you approach the things you want in a serious and grown-up manner. And I think that Aquarius is starting to integrate this. I think you're starting to integrate maybe an area of life that you fought for a little while. I don't want to settle down. I don't want to have a full-time committed job. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. You might have been in a mode of resistance. And 2020 might have helped you kind of get a little bit more internal. Your card of your situation or your atmosphere, your environment for the month is that of the Hermit. Now this is Virgo energy, meaning there's healing here. There's always healing with the Hermit. There's always a period of time in which we look within, start to really discover who we are. Now, as I explained, that Saturn moving into your sign, it will feel a little bit more quiet. There will be more alone time. There always is. But you've been going through a 12th house transit, so that alone time is nothing new. The difference is when Saturn enters your sign, that alone time becomes actually really productive. I feel like you should know that in some ways 2021 is going to feel kind of like Aquarius's playground. In a lot of ways, things are going to lighten up. People are going to be able to get out, to connect. We're all going to get back a little bit. I mean, there's no going back. There's no normal anymore. We have to create the new normal. But from what we've been through and what we've seen in 2020, that normal might take on some new priorities, might mean something different now. And that's what I mean about the alone time, the meditation time, the isolation time, the time when you kind of want to set your phone down and you don't want to answer those texts, you don't want to call those people. Maybe this is you getting really disciplined and saying, you know what, I'm just going to get off social media. And I'm going to focus on what I've got going on, whether it's school or building my career, or maybe entering a relationship and you want to do it the right way without all of the, kind of temptations and stuff in your face. It just feels like Aquarius wants to start doing things the right way. Now, the Hermit can also indicate a clear pathway, meaning that you're not really sure what's coming next. You kind of feel like you're in the dark. You don't really know. Yet intuitively you're being guided. And if you're willing to trust it, it will also be very productive. That's why it's really important this month to really stay in tune with your higher self. You might want to take some extra time to do some of those spiritual practices, even if it's just before bed, you turn on a meditation video or just kind of allow yourself to even just wind down from the screen time. It's really about the little things. With the Knight of Pentacles and the Hermit, it's like one good habit will lead to more good habits, will lead to more good habits up until the point of mastery, which is exactly what Saturn's going to do to you for the next 2.5 to 3 years. You are going to reach a point of self-mastery. Now your cards, your astrology cards are Aquarius, I know, the fire element of desire, and the card of Saturn. Now I love this energy. I really do. I love this because for me, Sometimes I see a sign go through a Saturn return or a Saturn transit, and it's honestly pretty scary. Lives can be turned upside down, right? Like you hear everybody say, oh my God, you don't even know who you are until you've been through your Saturn return. And that's true. You learn a lot about who you are. Now, that's not to say that all of you haven't already been through it, but you are going through another phase in your life where you're really getting to know yourself. It means that it gets quiet. It means it gets quiet and you start to learn who you are and what it is that you desire. And then Saturn comes and he says, well, if you want the big things, you have to work for it. That's a funny thing with Uranus being a co-ruler of your sign. Uranus can bring almost instant and crazy success stories, major changes instantly. And sometimes Aquarius is known for like things just working out. You know, to me, I kind of feel like Aquarius is a lucky sign. And I think a lot of it has to do with how good you are in your heart and how special you are to everyone. And so the universe is kind of known to take care of you in some ways, as it should. But Saturn doesn't baby anybody. Saturn isn't gentle. Saturn starts with a slap on the wrist, and if you don't learn the lessons quickly, you're probably in for an intense couple of years. If you've done a lot of shitty things in the past 20 years, you might be coming up on some karma. You might have to really look at those things. It's not to punish you, it's to improve you. It's to make you better. And it's so that you could start to take what you really love much more serious. If you have a hobby that you kind of want to make into a permanent career, if you want to start that business, having Saturn here means that it's going to work out in the long term. But it's really not going to be instant gratification. And that's what I'm seeing here is kind of the acceptance that instant gratification isn't really a thing right now. Now, I also got these two cards, and we're going to dip into the situation a little bit when I go through it. I see some of it, but your first card was trust. I accept that my inner voice will always guide me correctly. So that is yet another indication that you're kind of intuitively in tune. That if you allow yourself to kind of touch in, take a break, listen to your mind, shut off all the noise around you, you could pretty much bet that your intuition is going to guide you well. You know, and if you get any of those feelings, that anxiety that creeps up, you probably should pay attention to it. Pay attention to how you feel around other people when you're doing certain things. Like if you're going to a job and yet it makes you actually physically have ailing symptoms, headaches, backaches, whatever it is, it's time to look at these things. It's time to look at your body and how it's communicating with you. Now, the other card you got was that of friendship. I understand that a friend is in my life for a reason. And I suspect this has something to do with that eclipse in your 11th house of friends. Maybe it is that you want to offer a little bit more than friendship to someone because that is in the cards. This could also represent that need with Saturn there for you to kind of draw some boundaries in your life as well when it comes to friendships. Listen, you're going to hit a point where you know that some relationships will nurture you. They will nurture you as you grow, as you become better. You know, we all have those few friends that really celebrate the wins with you. They really want the best for you and you also for them. And so it's equal give and take. And sometimes we have to take a step back and look at our circle of friends and make sure that none of them are the kind of friends that are kind of hoping we lose. Even if it's for the best intentions, maybe you have a friend in your life that kind of wants to do all the things they can to keep you small. Sometimes you go through spiritual growth phases and ascension in your life, and there are friendships that tend to fall away because they just simply aren't on your vibration any longer. You might have friends that are kind of stuck in really negative patterns, and you know that you're going to need to separate yourself from those things in order for you to succeed. Maybe you're going to spend a lot more time studying, gaining knowledge, gaining skills, planning that business. Maybe you want to spend a lot more time with a spouse or with your children, and you just don't have time for girls' nights and stuff like that, or guys' night out, and that's okay. We go through these phases in our life, and we have to be able to accept them and trust that the universe is asking us to work on the things that are really going to make the long-term difference in our life. Now, I like all of these cards, but I do have to tell you there's a lot of major arcana in here. We have the Temperance card, the Judgment card, the Chariot card, and the Lovers. It's not going to be a little change, Aquarius. Now, it might not be all at once. It might not all take place in December. You might just be getting a taste of what all of this is going to be about. But you're definitely in a process. And so just like I said, it's not going to be instant gratification. And you should know that so you can adjust your expectations. There is simply no point in pushing and pushing just because you need to know where it's going. And I think it's really important for you, Aquarius, to kind of keep your feet on the ground. Don't let any of the little things kind of dictate the bigger thing. If there's criticism coming your way or people that aren't really agreeing with whatever path you want to take or go down, you're going to be okay. You could shrug that off. You don't have to invest in it. You don't have to take it personally. You don't have to allow it to drain you physically or emotionally at all. That's also the thing with Saturn. Saturn's going to teach us what really matters. Saturn's not really warm and fuzzy. It's business. It's responsibility. Of course, it's loyalty, which means that when people show you how unloyal they are, Saturn wants you to release that. Saturn wants you to know that your time and energy is used so much better in other areas of your life. I say that because the first card out is the Page of Swords. And I like you in a Page of Swords energy, especially with a Knight of Pentacles. Because the Knight of Pentacles is really slow moving and analytical and making plans, making the lists, knowing what they need to do. But the Page of Swords isn't afraid. They're curious and eager to learn. They're ready for change. They're not resisting it any longer. And I think the theme of resisting change is kind of over for you. I think 2020 shows you where you should kind of throw in the towel. And the Page of Swords tells me that you are in this attitude where you don't really care. You don't care if other people agree or approve. And that's a really powerful place. It also tells me that there's probably a lot of communication that's going to occur. Now, when I see the Page of Swords, it means that you're clearly going to speak your truth. And people might be speaking their truth to you. There's no manipulation, there's no hiding, there's no bothering to lie. It just is what it is. Page of Swords means there's no masks being worn. Nobody's pretending to be anything they aren't. And I think it means that you're no longer trying to pretend to be anything that you don't feel like being. I say that because next to that is the Eight of Swords. And the Eight of Swords is like this place of self-imprisonment. It's where we keep ourselves small. It's where we keep ourselves stuck. It's where we don't believe in ourselves. We don't have the confidence. We don't speak up. We stay in those relationships even though they make us feel bad about ourselves. Eight of Swords isn't exactly using your intuition, and the Page of Swords can be more logical. Now, the Page of Swords and the Eight of Swords together equal the Nine of Swords, and I feel like this might be an element of anxiety creeping in. Yeah, it feels like anxiety. It feels like something that you really want to do, you really want to go for, and then all of a sudden you go back to that place in your head that says, it's not going to work out. You're not going to be able to do it. They're never going to like you. You're never going to qualify for that job. The answer is never going to be yes. They're never going to want to go out with you. You know, I mean, it's all that negativity. Be careful with that this month, because next to this card is the King of Cups. There is a self-mastery. Now, King of Cups is out of Scorpio. Scorpio season. We're still in it. We have Venus in Scorpio. We have Mercury in Scorpio. Now, December, they will make their way into Sagittarius. Things will get a little bit more optimistic. But right now, they might just feel very intense. And the anxiety might get really intense. Because I think you know that big changes are coming. I think you know that life is changing for you. And I like that the Page of Swords is here, because I like that he isn't afraid. He isn't afraid of the change. In fact, he might actually be kind of orchestrating it in a way. Maybe even if you're acting out. Maybe you're kind of being an antagonist towards people because you want to start something, because you want to know where they stand. You want to know where their loyalties are. And that might be part of the weeding out process. The King of Cups is in charge of himself. He's in charge of his emotions. He's completely in control. And when others around him are spinning out of control or trying to really control a situation or control what you do, it's really not going to have much of an effect on you. And I'm not so sure that any relationships that are falling apart right now due to lack of honesty or lack of loyalty is really going to make any difference anyways. Oddly enough, we have this King of Pentacles underneath the Page of Swords. And I see this a couple different ways. Now, you are coming out as a Knight of Pentacles. And in between the two, the Knight of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles, is some form of a communication. Now, what I'm not sure of is who this King of Pentacles is for you. And maybe it will be different for each of you. In some ways, I feel like what comes up early in the month, whatever this is, this Page of Swords, this communication that points out the ways in which you keep yourself stuck. Whatever it is, whatever lesson you're going to learn there, it's going to ascend you into that King of Pentacles. And the King of Pentacles is super focused. He is capable of providing, earning good money, taking care of the responsibilities, making sure that his loved ones are comfortable and safe. The thing is, the King of Pentacles can also really be stubborn. And Aquarius, you are a fixed sign, and my fixed signs are going to kind of feel it in 2021 because your natural instinct is to resist change. And 2021 might be the most prolific change any of us will ever see in our lifetime. I don't say that to scare you. It's not a scary thing. We're about to hit a major level of progression in all ways. Medical advancements, the way that we shop, the way that we eat our food, things are about to change very rapidly. And I just want to make sure that this King of Pentacles isn't something within you. Something within you that's, because honestly, it feels heavy. It feels a little bit like I got to do everything on my own. And I'm wondering if once you start to go through the sifting of the friendships and the relationships, that this isn't you kind of feeling like, well, great, now I'm alone. Now I got to do everything by myself. Maybe if you have a business, maybe you had to clear out your employees. Maybe you found out that a lot of them were not loyal or not doing the right things. And now here's the responsibility. Now means you have to go out and find new employees, or it means you have to go out and find new friends, or it means, you know, that you have to be self-reliant in some way. In some ways, I feel like this King of Pentacles is actually a decision. Now, I say that because the overall energy is the Lover's card, and underneath that is the World card. Underneath that is the Seven of Wands. You can't make this shit up. So clearly what's going on is that you have a choice to end a part of your life, a chapter in your life, and start something new, and yet you are resisting the change. So now you have to ask yourself why. Center of the reading is the Ten of Wands. First of all, Aquarius, I don't think you know how close you are to really starting to achieve the things you want to achieve. Whatever it is, whatever you're trying to bring into existence. Maybe you're trying to take a relationship to the next level. You're looking for that promotion. You want to go back to school. You want to find your first job. Whatever this is, I don't care if it's you want to get a dog. I don't care. If it's something that you really want, you need to know that it's a lot closer to happening than you really realize. So I think this Ten of Wands is like this push. Like, I have to keep going. And this King of Pentacles is kind of like, come on, you didn't make those sacrifices for nothing. Now, if this Ten of Wands is a relationship or a job, you know it has to come to an end. If it's a relationship or job you want, there's probably something you have to give up in order to achieve it. If you want a whole new career path because the job or career that you have now is physically draining the living shit out of you, it means you're going to have to put in the work. You're going to have to show Saturn that you really want it. If you want to go back to school, but you're worried that the finances aren't going to work out, explore it deeper. Do not make assumptions. And vice versa. Do not make assumptions that loans will come through, okay? It's just not a time to make assumptions or to rely on outward sources. You kind of have to do this on your own. Again, the Hermit card. You got to go within. You got to figure out what your intuition is telling you. And you get the Temperance card. Now remember, I said in the beginning of the reading, especially with the Knight of Pentacles and the Saturn energy, nothing's really going to happen fast. Now I know I just kind of contradicted myself because I just said things are almost here. You're almost here. But no, things aren't going to happen fast. It is a process. You have to be patient. And maybe instead of saying you don't know how close you are, I want to tell you, you don't know how close you are until the support arrives. Things are going to start working out. If you're on the right path, they're just naturally going to start to work out. Oh, you're thinking about getting into that field, and then all of a sudden you sit down on a bus next to a guy who does that thing. And the universe is like, hey, ask him some questions, explore it a little deeper. The universe is working with you now. The universe is supporting your dreams. And you need to support yourself. There's a lot of kings here. There's a lot of kings. Now, underneath this King of Pentacles is a Judgment card. And I'm just wondering if this isn't, maybe this King of Pentacles is kind of an overbearing boss or a parent who's really like on your ass. You're like, totally, I can't take the nagging anymore. I can't. And maybe this is a sign that it's time to move out on your own. Now, if this King of Pentacles is like a spouse who's like super controlling and not really letting you grow or do new hobbies, it's probably a good time to look at that too. Nonetheless, there's a judgment call. There's a judgment call on this King of Pentacles, and maybe this is just a pressure to decide what it is you want to do with your life. What do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to do? I don't care if you're 60 years old. I always ask everybody the same thing. What do you want to be when you grow up? Because we're all changing every day. Every year, we're a little different. That's why I laugh when there's so much pressure on 18-year-olds to go to college and you know, pick what they want to do for the rest of their life. Like, who knows? I'm 40 and I don't really know yet, you know? And I just think there's some things in your life that you gotta allow to kind of open up in their own time. And part of that is you. It's who you are. It's how you want to serve others. It's a legacy that you want to leave behind. And the Judgment card, you might have to really take a hard look at where you are in your life, at how dependable you are and the changes that you want to make. Like I said, it's time to grow up. It's time to start doing things the right way. You know, if you're young and you're just kind of getting, you know, financially stable on your own, and maybe like you see that new Xbox and you want to go take like a payday loan because you just got to have it right away. Well, Saturn's going to teach you why that stuff's not a good idea. And even if you're older, you know, maybe those lessons are coming back to bite you in the ass a little bit, and that's okay. Because I think it's time for you to really start to take you and your potential really seriously. Because I feel like you have a lot to offer, and I'm not fully convinced that you are aware of it yet. I'm not fully convinced that Aquarius knows how much potential is in this Saturn progression. Now, underneath this 10 of Wands is a Chariot in reverse. There's delays. There's delays in what you want. Another indication that there is not a prayer of instant gratification here whatsoever. There might be just a lot of frustrating obstacles in December. And I get it. It sucks. Might feel like things just won't move forward. It might feel like outside circumstances are really forcing you to kind of stay here. 10 of Wands place. Might just have to juggle and hold it together a little bit longer. But the 10 of Wands with the Chariot in reverse to me is a reminder that you can't go to the next place and you can't do the next thing until you leave the other place. You know, I mean, this could have a lot to do with karma. This could be a lot to do with having to close out some cycles. And that could so honestly be so energetic. Like, you're wishing to find another job and maybe your resume's out there and you realize you've been kind of slacking off at this job, and then you start to get really full of anxiety, like, oh my God, if I get that next job, it's going to take me weeks here to just get caught up before I could leave. Or, you know, this could be like having to train your replacement before you move or accept a promotion. Yeah, it's going to be a pain in the ass. Yeah, I think that Saturn's going to make you really finish the things. It's about following through here. You're going to realize that the more you resist, the more the universe is going to resist, and you're really never going to win that argument. So intuitively, especially if you've got those things nagging in your head in December, like, yeah, but I got to really do that, and I can't even do this thing until I finish this. Like, just do it. Just do it. Just make a plan. Knight of Pentacles. Make a plan, put a list in writing of all the things that you still need to accomplish, and just cross one thing off a week or one thing off a day and allow yourself to feel really good about it. You want this Chariot to move in the upright position. It means you really have to feel like you're ready on the inside. You can't wish for something to happen and yet dread that it happens, because it means you've got to do all this stuff. So it's a really important month to close things out. That could also involve relationships, friendships, doing that thing, saying, hey, listen, I really got to focus on other things right now, and I can't really hang out with you, and I can't really handle all the drama, and I really just need my life to be quiet right now. You might have to have those conversations. If you're young and you're thinking about going, you know, maybe you're away at school and you've got a roommate that's like constantly partying, and you might have to go back and do the really uncool thing and be like, dude, I'm kind of here to study. I'm kind of trying to take this serious, and either you got to support me and respect these boundaries that Saturn's teaching you to set, or I got to make some changes. That Chariot in reverse comes out next to the Seven of Swords in reverse and the Two of Wands in reverse. I think this is good, because I think that thing that you're not following through on has become very clear. And that is very well the thing that is self-sabotaging the shit out of you. I want my life to be different. I want my life to be different, but you keep doing it the same way. Seven of Swords is where you finally come out of that self-deception. When you grow up, when you get honest with yourself. Oh, you know what? I could probably do that better. I could probably pay better attention to paying my bills on time, or I could probably start to really save up that money because I know I'm going to need that car in a year. You know, I mean, this is like the ways that you're coming out of ways that you really dig yourself in a hole. And the Two of Wands in reverse is kind of feeling like hopeless, like you'll never be able to create or get the thing that you really want. And if you've been in a cycle for 20 years, 10 years, 2 years, whatever it is, if you've been in a cycle of negativity, like, oh, it's just never going to happen for me, I'm giving up, it'll never work out. With Saturn there, you're not going to be allowed. It's just not going to work anymore. And you're going to want more. You're going to want more for yourself. Like I said, you're going to start to feel your self-worth really come alive. Now, the other card you got was that of the Hawk. And this is what I mean about the big picture stuff. This is what I mean about doing what's right in the long run. Now, when I see the hawk, it's kind of like conquering the sun, conquering what it needs to make him happy. Now, you also have the fire element here. So there's a lot of solar plexus energy. There's a lot of cards with yellow within your reading, which shows me there's so much that the support that the universe is offering to you now. Whenever there's yellow in cards, it means a gift. It means a positive energy flow. Even if there are delays, even if there are things, even if Saturn is making you kind of sit in it for a little while, it's because when you're out of it, you're going to know exactly where to go and how to do it. You're going to master all of that and go after and harness that dream, that thing, that relationship, whatever it is. The hawk is an animal of prey, and what you desire will be yours. And I also think the hawk comes out at times because it's not about the big thing. Like the ego would kind of be like the big thing. And I think Saturn's going to show you the value of the little things. The value of the little achievements. Crossing one thing off at a time and conquering all of that anxiety and self-sabotage energy. Making a plan and getting clear with what you really want and desire. Making a schedule, keeping a calendar, whatever it is. Setting reminders on your phone. It's the little things, the little habits that feed on to the bigger things that create a really positive flow in your life. And the last oracle card you got was change. A change in the wind. It's a card number 12 breaking down to a 3, which is very creative. And I think through all of this, you're getting very creative in how to fix your life. I like that a lot. I'm going to read this for you. I'm going to read to you the oracle message, okay? It's human nature to yearn for certainty and resist change. To want the world to remain consistent like a zebra's stripes, yet nothing in human experience is black and white. Also represented in the Chariot, upside down. Nor will anything remain static. The one thing guaranteed is change. Now is a time of transformation as outer conditions are temporarily moving out of sync with your desires and expectations. Stay the course and remember that even storms serve to clear the air, scatter seeds and nourish the soil for better things ahead. Life is about to get interesting. Anticipate it with curiosity as you wonder what is coming in on the shifting winds. The unknown is where the magic lies. It is magic, and do not have anxiety over it. Okay? Awesome reading, Aquarius. And also, heads up, my video didn't get cut off. Yay! It's a successful reading for Aquarius, minus the hat. All right, guys, I'm going to go start to work on my turkey. I really hope that you have a wonderful Thanksgiving, a wonderful holiday season. I'll be back mid-month. I may not be doing the love readings this time. I think I might be looking into like a first quarter tarot reading for 2021, kind of going over the energies for January, February, and March. All right, guys, I love you so much. Take care. Bye.